like me, they can talk about me to their friends and not be embarrassed. And those were the things that I often wondered, how my dad felt or whatever. Then I would see people like Larry. Man, your daddy told me you done did this, you done went here, you done, and I'm like, he ain't never said nothing to me about this. What's going on? I didn't even know he knew. We've all seen those movies or television shows where you go in somebody's house or home and they got the scrapbooks and the pictures of your life story, things that you've done that you didn't even know that it was where. That was my dad. You go in there, you see the pictures, the clippings or whatever of his children, his grandchildren, and you know, those were the things that let you know that he was a proud dad. He was proud of his children, family, as we all heard. He loved family. He loved family. He would always think about family, and that's what was important. As they say, when he walked up to you, he always, I don't care what, and I used to wonder where he got this stuff, especially at family events. He'd show up with a little binder with pictures, and he wanted to make sure that you know who this person is. This is your family. Let me show you how you related to them. Let me tell you this. That was it. And you're like, Dad, come on. I said, wait a minute, where you get this picture from? And I'm talking about, that's how we were. The stocks. He was always trying to figure out, let me get you involved in this right here. Let me show you. He always wanted to talk about earning. I can remember being, Renee helped me out, I can remember being 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. My grandmother, his mother, was the same way. They send you to the store, or they drop you off at the store. They're gonna give you some money, and before you can go in the store, now how much change am I supposed to get back? Don't come back in here with the wrong amount, because you're gonna go get my money. And I mean, we was young, you know, this big, walking in like, oh, I'm just really learning how to count. But like my cousin Shaughnessy said, down at his stand, you better be able to add, and you don't need no calculator. You selling merchandise, okay, you know how much each item costs. You better know how to calculate and tell that person how much it is, just like that. We hadn't even graduated high school. We still learning math. But for him, it didn't matter. Renee, this is specifically to you. You took care of our dad. You made sure he ate. You made sure he had clothes. You dealt with his mood swings. I love you. And I know, like Shaughnessy said, Saturday mornings are going to be tough for you. But I promise you, my Saturday mornings, when I'm in town, I'm going to be devoted to you. Shaughnessy, this is for you and your children. Sundays, if I have to meet you at the corner of Covington Highway and South Harrison in the Publix parking lot, because we round the corner from each other, we will spend some time. I will do my best as your older brother, as your older cousin, to help fill that time and space for my father, your uncle/father. Avis, your brother, 11 years, your senior. I know there was some ups and downs, but just know, regardless of whatever, he did love you. He truly loved you. He cared for your children by his actions. He showed you. Like I said, I can't recall my dad saying I love you. But you know, the way he stepped in, what he did, that was all because of love. That was love. Mama, all we got, Larry said, is the blood that runs through our veins. We're all family, mountains and valleys, peaks and lows, but we're all going to be here to get through this. Yes, it is good for and pleasant for brethren to dwell together in unity. However, I think Psalms was not meant for us together unified to mourn the life of one of us, but to celebrate living of all of us. Family, friends. As the songstress just said, weeping may endure for a night. Remember, joy comes in the morning. My dad walks with all of us. His love for family is my motto. The man of life. So because of my memories and his love, I conclude in my heart, as I just stated to my sister and my cousin, I will not let his spirit die. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He would be so honored right now because just a couple weeks ago, he just said to my sister, when he passed, it probably was just going to be the two of them. And to see this room, this sanctuary, everybody that he touched that came in some form or fashion that is here, thank you, thank you, thank you. He really would be honored. Love you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a distant cousin. Everybody knew Aunt Lulabelle, and that was my mother. But I would be remiss if I didn't share this with you. Moochie was a character. When he was like 8 years old, they was bringing him up to stay with his mother. My mother and his mother went to the country to get him. And I don't know whether you all remember this or not, Lorraine, but they told the story about every time he didn't want to leave Aunt Georgia Lee. He didn't want to leave his grandmother. And every time they put him in the car, he'd get out one door. They'd run after him at the, he'd get out another door. They put him back in the car. He'd get over the seat and get out of another door. They didn't have sense enough to lock the doors. So, but Mama said they ran around the car to get him. Finally, they corralled him, put him back in the car. She sat on him all the way from Manchester, Georgia to Atlanta, Georgia. He was a character. I just had to share that with you all because we loved him, but he was a character. Y'all have a blessing.
Let me say again, thank God for those of you with words of reflection. Thank God for the life as well as the legacy of Moochie. I can call him that because for 73 years I've known him. 3 months older than him. He was married 3 years longer than I and my wife. All of us grew up together. My wife being his first cousin, he felt that he could come to our house anytime. And as the brother said earlier, he'll pop up. Many times he'll come to the gate, and I had a feeling that he was coming. I kept the gate locked. But Moochie would stay out there and blow until somebody come out. And I had to be the one to greet him, let him in. Then instead of him greeting me, he'll pass me and go and find my wife, sit down and stay as long as he want to stay. All of these years that I've known him, I've never been angry with him. Matter of fact, he was a brother beloved. And I know many of you, when you look at Moochie, in his latter years, some of you may somewhat been embarrassed, but he wasn't always that way. Sometimes life throw us a curve. Sometimes things happen in our life and we wake up and realize that I am who I am. And either you accept me or reject me. I am who I am. And that was Moochie. He would show up even at church, at funerals, looking the way he looked. And I will be the first one to go to him. I said, man, now, don't you start nothing today. Whoever be, he go to a cousin's funeral and he felt that he had to come to the pulpit and say something. But when I tell him not to come up there, I might well tell him, come on up. Because he'll come up and he'll start saying something, he'll get emotional, and then he would take his seat. If you look at his picture, and I just realized because I was looking through my wardrobe and I was looking for my cap. That's my cap on that picture. And if you go home, you might find a pair of my old folk comfort in his closet. Because he'll come and say, what you got for me today, preacher? And I was looking at that coat. If you look at my coat, I believe that was my coat he had on too in that one of those pictures. That's how we do as homeboys. We grew up that way, close, a few miles apart before he left and came to Atlanta. I remember when, and I'm going to be very brief today, I remember when we used to wear, guys my age call it crowbar. You know, wear your hair cut real low, you brush it, Roy Crown, you brush your hair, put waves all around your head. We used to wear parted or unparted. But I got to the point where I started wearing mine departed. And Moochie just wore his anyway. He was just being Moochie. And that's why I can stand here today, and I know Willie Harmon Brown. I know his mother. I know his whole family because I married into that family. And when I married Glorianne into that family, my wife would call Aunt Joy Lee. And one day I showed up and called her Miss Joy Lee. She corrected me. She said, "I'm your Aunt Joy Lee." And she straightened me out then. They ever said, "Hey, Aunt Joy Lee, how you doing?" I was here for Bet, Mooch's mama. I used to hear Mooch talk all the time about Shaughnessy, Avis. He talk about Renee, talk about Cortez. He talked about his family. He loved his family. You heard that, you heard that. And he never were ashamed of his family. Now, some of his family members, don't hold your head down. You might have been ashamed of him. But I used to ask him all the time. See, Minnie, his wife, was our classmate too. And when he married Minnie, I asked him, "Man, how you married a beautiful woman like that?" He said, "How you married Linda?" "The same way you married her." I said, "Well, no argument." But as you all said, he was a character. You could love to hate him, but no use of hating on him because he's going to turn right around and come back to you. And as if ain't nothing happened. But we're here today, all of you. I thank God for your presence to this beloved ministers, and if there be others who are in the audience. To all of you, the family members here, I pondered what I would say, and I listened at all of those who came up. I've been to many funerals in my life ministry, and I heard probably 5 eulogies today. That being uplifting the deceased person. But my message is to all of you who, once we leave the grave and once we continue in life, my lesson and message is to you. And I thought about this. I would call this message "When the Chapter Ends." When the chapter ends. And those of you who are Bible readers and study of the Word, the chapter that I want to uplift briefly is Luke's Gospel, the 15th chapter. It's something about that entire chapter when you get an opportunity to read it, and many of you who've been to church 2 times, you've heard this message from that 15th chapter of the Gospel of Luke. But I call it "When the Chapter Ends." And let me kind of expound briefly upon the beginning of the chapter when Pharisees and Sadducees were concerned about who Jesus was sitting with. He was sitting with sinners according to the religious folks. And sometimes people always question you who you're hanging with. You know, from where I come from, they used to say birds of a feather flock together, but it's not always so. Because Jesus hanged around some of the least at certain times. But they questioned Jesus about sitting and eating with sinners, and he began to use parable. That's a story he told. He began to tell them about a person had 100 sheep. And somehow or another, one of the sheep began to nibble and nibble himself lost. Anybody in here, church? He nibbled himself lost, and the man who had the sheep left the 99, went and found the one that was lost, put it on his shoulder and brought it back, and he rejoiced over the one that was lost. The parable goes on to tell about a woman in the house who lost her coin. The coin was valuable to her, but she lost it in the house. And I want to say to somebody, you can be in the house and lost. The woman, the Bible says, she lit her candle and she swept the floor and she found the coin that was lost. And then she called her friends and she said, come rejoice with me. I have found that which was lost. Then he goes on to tell a story about a man had 2 sons. The younger son said to his father, Father, give me the portion of good that falleth to me. Out of respect for him, his father didn't argue with him, nor did he try to deter him from leaving. But he gave him his portion, which was not time for him to gain his portion. But his daddy gave it to him, and he packed up everything he had, and he left. And the Bible said he went into a distant place, and there he squandered. He wasted all the good that he had. Do I have some church folks in here? All right. And when he found himself in a far country, he had to employ himself as a Jewish boy to work for a man by feeding hogs. Just the other day, I preached this sermon, and I called it the hog pen decision. This young man, when he found himself in wants, and he hired himself out, and they had him slopping the hogs. A Jewish boy shouldn't be doing that. But one day, down by the hog pen, the Bible said he came to himself. And when he came to himself, he began to think about all of the hired servants that his father had back at the house. And he thought about the food that was on the table and began to say to himself, I'm going to rise up and I'm going home. And when I get home, I'm going to tell my dad to forgive me. But somehow or another, that daddy who gave him his portion must have known that one day my boy who left me will one day come back home. My message to any son or any daughter in here today, don't burn your bridge when you leave the house. Because sometimes life throws you a curve and you got to come back across that bridge. This young man came back home and he began to wonder in himself, what will I say to my daddy? But the Bible said his daddy saw him in a distance. Think about that if you please. His daddy saw him coming home, and instead of waiting till he get home, his daddy went and found him and fell on his shoulder with compassion and kissed him. What a way to come back home. And then when he came home, he told servants to kill the fattest calf, put a ring on the boy's finger, put a robe on him, put shoes on his feet. My boy who was once lost, he is now found. Good God Almighty. And let me tell you something. Everybody don't celebrate your elevation. When you're lifted up in life, everybody don't celebrate you. Matter of fact, some people rejoice when you fall down. But I'm the kind of person that celebrates an individual, even with a birthday, even with a marriage celebration. You celebrate people while they live. But the problem with this young man who came home in this 15th chapter of Luke Gospel is that he had an elder brother who stayed at the house. And you would thought that he was in his right mind. You would thought that he was a good fella because he stayed around daddy. But one day he came out of the field, the oldest boy. The Bible said he heard dancing, and he heard singing, he heard music. And outside of the house there was a servant standing there. He said, "What meanest thou? What's going on in the house?" And this wicked servant said to him, "Your brother, who done went and wasted all of his money." He goes on to tell daddy he wasted with prostitutes. He wasted money, but now he done come home. And your daddy is celebrating him. Do you all hear what I'm saying? Instead of him going in, the daddy had to come out. Let me say it again. Instead of him going in the house where the celebration was, he outside, angry, mad at his daddy. All these many years I've been here and you ain't never gave me nothing. Daddy said, "Son, don't you understand that your younger brother went away, wasted what he had, but he come home now? He was lost, and he's now found." But check this out. He did not go in. I tell you that the chapter closed with the elder brother on the outside. What about your life? Are you going to allow the chapter in your life to close out with you on the outside? They was inside shouting. He was outside pouting. They was inside dancing. He was outside moping. They was inside rejoicing. But he was outside sad. It's a sad commentary on anybody who won't come into the celebration. Let me say to you, somebody said to me, "You're going to preach a country sermon today?" I'm not going to act country today. What I am going to do is challenge you who are here today. Think about your life. Moochie is gone. Moochie was who he was. But what about you? Is the chapter going to close out with you outside? Or you going to make your way in? I heard David say, he said, "I was glad when they said unto me, 'Come, let us go into the house of the Lord.'" You need to get somewhere. I'm speaking to somebody in here. You need to get somewhere because you could go to sleep on the outside. Get your life right with God. God bless you.
Thank you. Those are the ones that when I ride across the country, that always have my back, make sure I'm okay, get back to the family. And we wanted to say thank you, and we want to turn this over. And to Girl Home. When we turn this back over to the staff, Willie, Watkins, I just want to thank them for the amazing job and things they have done. Beautiful. Just want to say thank you. Thank you. Maybe we put our hands together and give the Lord. On behalf of the Willie Watkins Funeral Home and the Brown family, there are two things we like to say. First, we like to say thanks to the minister, to the musicians, to all family and friends. The family would like to say thank you for Carrie, thank you for Sherry, and thank you for coming the last mile of the way. We here at the Willie Watkins Funeral Home feel and believe that every family we serve becomes a part of our family. From our family to your family. We'd like to give you this plaque in memory of the Lord. May I ask for 4 ladies to come this way to service flower ladies? Then after 4 ladies, I need 6 gentlemen to serve as pallbearers. You will come to line up right here. Then the gentleman who's going to serve as pallbearers, please line up behind the ladies.
Just go straight out the door. Straight out the door. Yeah. Look. Give me some of the boys. Oh, sign me up for the Christian Jubilee. Write my name on the roll. I've been changed since the Lord has lifted me. I want to be ready when Jesus comes. Oh, sign me up for the Christian Jubilee. Write my name on the roll. I've been changed since the Lord has lifted me. I want to be ready when Jesus comes. Oh, sign me up for the Christian Jubilee. Write my name on the roll. I've been changed since the Lord has lifted me. I want to be ready when Jesus comes. Oh, sign me up for the Christian Jubilee. Write my name on the roll. I've been changed since the Lord has lifted me. I want to be ready when Jesus comes. When he comes, the trumpet shall sound loud. When my Savior comes, the dead in Christ shall rise. Oh, I've been changed when he lifted